You're listening to The Next 15, a podcast show for the binge listener covering random topics such as relationships, current news, and everyday life issues. My name is Trey North, and for the next few minutes, I hope to make you laugh, educate, and inspire you. Welcome to the Next 15 podcast show. It's Friday at 7 o'clock, and you know what time it is. Time for another episode of the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North and my co-host, Chris McAllister.
Yo, everybody, what's going on? It is so good to be back in the saddle once again. I know you missed me. I know you did.
Yeah, we missed you, man. You were out last week when we had a big episode.
Yeah, man, forgive me. You know what I'm saying? I was talking about relationships and everything, and I was saving mine. You know what I mean?
Oh, I hear you, man. We had a great episode last week with Nick from the Drip Podcast. Nick Taylor, man, from the Drip Podcast, man. We did a show called 11 Ways to Save Your Relationship, man. What a great episode,
yeah, man. It really was a great episode. I got to hear most of it, man, for the night, man, and you guys did such a wonderful job. Trey, you held it down, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
I'm so proud of you, man. I really am,
Hey,
man.
it's my show. I'm supposed to hold it down.
Touche, bud, friend.
Nah, man. Hey, man, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Want to give a shout out. Do we got anybody in the chat rooms yet? Nobody yet?
Not yet.
Well, as they come in, if you're listening on next15podcast.com, I want to thank you so much. If you want to tune in, head over to Spreaker. That's S-P-R-E-A, can't even spell, S-P-R-E-A-K-E-R, Spreaker. Search the Next 15 where you can find us live right now and in our interactive chat room. We got a great show, but before I do that, I want to announce our co-host. I think you guys know when I get ready to do this introduction who I'm talking about. He's a Texas educator, sports coach, father, husband, and a lover of Christ. He's Mr. I'm Not Perfect, but God Is. And you can follow him on Instagram at Ty Holsey at Facebook, and also at Ty Holsey on Instagram. Y'all give it up for Ty Holsey. What's up, Ty?
All right. I hope everybody is doing well. Thank you, guys.
Well, guess what? All righty, that's good. We got the thumbs up. Everything is going good on the communication side. Yep. Listen, we got a great show for y'all tonight. Let me just let you know where we're coming from tonight. First of all, tonight's show is Am I Qualified? This topic derived from last week with special guest co-host Nick Taylor, as I mentioned, from the Drip Podcast on the episode of 11. Okay, guys. So I went back and I was just listening to the show like I always do, man. And I was listening to a segment where we were talking about making sure that family and friends stay out of your business and or drawing that boundary so that you don't drag other people into your relationship. Right. And Nick mentioned about something about married couples. And I want to play that clip right quick, and we're gonna let you guys hear that right now, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna address that topic because I think it's a very good. She had a point, but I think we got something to talk about tonight. What y'all think?
Absolutely.
All right. Sounds good.
Right. Well, let's take a look at that right now.
Another thing, you want to save your relationship? Stop getting advice from your single friends because they don't know nothing about marriage.
Ooh.
No, you married people should not be taking advice from single people. And if divorced, the only thing they can tell you or teach you is how not to be divorced.
Right.
That I don't, that's just my thought. That's just my thinking.
Now, what if they're single but they were in a previous relationship? Okay, you guys heard it, right?
Yep.
All right. That's what we're gonna talk about. That's why the show is Am I Qualified?
Yeah. And that's a great question, man. Am I qualified?
Yeah.
That's real good.
Yeah. So I'm going to kick it off. Let's get our co-host. Let's get our guest co-host tonight.
Yeah.
Let's give him the floor. Hey, T. Holsey, should a person be disqualified from giving advice to a married couple just because they're not married?
That is a good question. I personally feel like Qualifications, I mean, it depends on what it is. I don't think marriage is one of them. I think that all people, single or whatnot, even young people, can give advice on what they see when they're around you and that person, um, or just your relationship in general. I think that you have to be careful on if the advice is toxic. I think you have to be careful on that. I also think that you have to be careful on sometimes who is the advice coming from, because if I can understand you not having your life together, a person not having their life together, and you shouldn't be giving advice to anyone. But if you are single because you want to be single, because you got your stuff together, I think you should be qualified to give advice. And if you have been in a previous relationship and maybe that didn't work out, you took something hopefully away from that relationship that you can share with someone that is previously in a relationship, currently in a relationship, if you see them going down the same path as yourself. So I think you should most definitely be able, especially if y'all are friends. If you're friends, why not tell my friend or give my friend some advice that I think would be beneficial to them if it's coming from the right place.
Okay.
That's good.
All right, Chris.
That's good.
Your comments.
Okay. I'm gonna come from two different variations with this one.
But let's stay with this one though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What I mean by that is, if you're talking about somebody who's never been married, right? I'm gonna kind of agree with Nick on this one.
Okay.
I agree with her to a certain extent, and what I mean by that is, yes, I don't feel like you can give. I don't feel like you can give advice to a married couple if you are a single and you're younger than the couple that needs the advice. I truly believe that if you are older, like for instance, if I was, let's say I was a 60-year-old man, and I had never been married, but a young couple asked me for some advice, I think just the wisdom of that old man could give you some good pointers. Even though he's never been married, he's lived enough life to be able to give you some type of construction or some type of construct on how it should work. And I like what Ty said, because some people are single by choice.
Yep.
It's not the fact that they can't find anybody and they're not qualified to find anybody. They just choose not to, because relationships can suck. So.
Okay, but let me play the other side.
Okay.
Some may disagree with that because of the fact that, yes, okay, you're single because you choose to,
right?
But being single and married are two different things.
Absolutely.
And so one might disagree because there's no experience in regards to a marriage versus being single. When you're single, you're not having to live with anyone day to day and dealing with their good and bad habits. So one might have something might they might dispute that, because I feel like, hey, in that regard, you've never been married, how can you really effectively push me in toward a right direction if you haven't experienced that? Because I believe that experience is the greatest teacher. So if you have no experience on a thing, how are you qualified to talk about that which you know nothing about?
Okay. Can I chime in on that and just throw this into the equation while we're commenting on this? Have we not also had married people give us terrible advice as well? So
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, and we're gonna probably hit that in a little bit.
But that's where to me that's where the age comes in. That's why I said there is an age or a level of maturity. Yeah, like you know what I mean. Like I think that of course, no 20-year-old. I mean, I'm not saying 20-year-old because there might be some people out there that's 20 that's real smart. But what I'm just saying, like, if you've been married, there are some couples that just have horrible advice. Now it might work for them, but it's just. They're weird, and that works for them, But would you take your car to a mechanic
or to somebody to fix that has never fixed a car before versus to someone that has fixed a car before? And I'm not talking about age. I can hit you on that too. But I'm saying, okay, let me just go ahead since I brought that up.
Yeah.
Would you take your Lamborghini to a mechanic of 1 year experience versus a mechanic of 20 years?
Correct. I would take my car to the one that has the 20-year experience. But here's the thing. For most of us, we've all taken our car to a mechanic that technically wasn't a mechanic.
That's because we were trying to save money.
Did the car not,
Shade
tree mechanic. The question is, did the car not run when he was done with it? Did it not work?
Okay, I'll give you that. How many times did you have to bring it back?
Hey, but look here, though. I done have some 20-year barbers that mess my head up. So I just want to throw that in there.
Wait. You mean, okay, when you say mess it up, did they mess it up one time, or in the 20 years that you had them, they might have made some errors? Because there's a difference.
They made some. They had my, one of them had my lineup. It was kind of almost touching the back of my head. So I just want to almost say that. And he tried to play it off real good. And I said, you got to take $10 off this.
Well,
No, but no, not $10. You're not getting paid, brother.
Yeah.
like,
yeah, you messed my edge up, bro. That's the.
I had a date tonight.
That actually happened to me one time.
It did.
My barber right here. Remember, I went on a date
sure
and that joker plugged me. And I went on a date and he plugged me.
He did, bro. I remember this.
I was like, you stupid.
You gonna think in that situation, the only thing you can do
funny.
is tell your date I sneezed.
Oh,
That's
man.
funny.
Oh man, who do we got? Hey,
That's funny.
Andrea Clark.
Hey, we have Andrea Clark. We have Miss Jacqueline Hammond. Hey, Miss Jacqueline.
Thank y'all so much for listening.
Absolutely.
We hope you're enjoying this. Yeah. So that's my comment on those.
Yeah, man. And again, like it depends on how you look at it, man. So, like for instance, if you have somebody, I feel like there are some people out there that aren't married that have great advice, because sometimes the advice isn't for quote unquote the marriage, it's for the individual. You see what I'm saying? Because the problem sometimes in the marriage is not the marriage, it's the person. So it might be you see what I'm saying? It might be the young man that's talking to the older man. The older man ain't never been married, but the older man can definitely tell you, hey, what you doing ain't right. You see what I'm saying?
I can get that. I can roll with that.
You know what I mean? And so that's where I'm coming from is, he might not be able to speak to the whole spectrum of the marriage, but he can definitely speak to the man, or the woman can speak to the woman on behalf of what they see is going wrong. Like, hey, I might not be married, but I know no woman wants to be talked down to. So, you know what I mean?
So to me, that's I would say I would credit that to common sense and just common courtesy and respect for the other individual.
Right.
But also, I do credit that as that's a singles person advice. That's not giving advice as and for marriage. That's just from a male's or a female's perspective in their singleness. If that makes any sense.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? But when it comes down to the mechanics of marriage and you've never been married, how can you give advice on something that's mechanical like that?
Correct.
I
could do that. Yeah.
Okay. What do you, T, you agree with that, Ty?
I definitely agree with that. I feel like, if, for instance, if we're talking about a subject and if my wife's birthday or there's a special occasion, I feel like, and I don't step up and I don't go out of my way to try to do something to make that a special night for us. I would expect anybody to be able to say, man, like if I'm over my a homeboy's house and we just chilling watching the game, I would expect anybody to, I don't care if you're single or whatever it is, I would expect anybody to say, why are you here watching this game with me and you and your wife got something planned, or is your wife's special event or something like that? You need to be at home. So I feel like it should be based on the subject matter. Now, if you are not qualified in a sense of you are not taking care of your home, you should not be telling me to take care of my home.
Practice what you preach.
Yeah.
Don't be a hypocrite.
Yeah, sweep around your own front door. There's a whole church song around that.
Take your own trash out.
Right.
Sweep around. Sweep around.
It's like change your own oil. You know what I mean?
Cut your own hair.
All these one-liners. Yeah.
Okay. Jacqueline in the chat room says, well, what if you were single now, but you once were married? Great segue. Thank you, Jacqueline, because that's where I was going. Should you have a deaf ear toward those who've experienced divorce that want to give their input on marriage? And we're gonna cover that once we come back. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll come right back.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Trey North, and I wanted to let you know about The Next 15, an all-new podcast show designed specifically for the binge listener, covering random and sometimes off-the-cuff topics such as relationships, current news, and everyday life issues. This podcast show is interactive, which means you can participate during our live episodes via chat room or podcast line. That's right, you can call in and be a part of my live podcast show. So tune in on Friday nights at 7 p.m. live on Spreaker.com or Next15podcast.com. And if you missed the live show, you can catch up by tuning in on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Before I go, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Next15Podcast. Or you can go to Next15podcast.com and subscribe to get upcoming news, unreleased contents, and our monthly newsletter. This is Trey North, and I'll see you on the Next 15. You're listening to the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North on Spreaker.com. And we're back on the Next 15 podcast show with tonight's subject, Am I Qualified?
That's so good, man. This is actually really good, man. I like this because I got a couple of questions myself.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
So Jacqueline Hammett in the chat room helped us on our segue tonight, because that exactly is what my next question was. Can someone who is single now but was once married give advice?
Yeah.
I'll let you have it, Chris, since we let T. Holsey go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me first off start by saying thank you, Miss Jacqueline. That was a great segue. That's a great question. But this actually pertains back directly tied back into the conversation with Miss Nick. Right. And so, if Miss Nick, if you're listening or if you do hear this, great. You did a wonderful job. But I'm going to disagree a little bit on this one, on this end, with all due respect, simply because I truly believe that none of us learn really from our successes. It is not until you begin to fail you learn from your failures, or quote unquote failure. Right. I truly believe that if you have been married before and you have been divorced, you are the number one catalyst of I would talk to, because you know what brought upon the divorce. Right. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so she said a statement like, all you can do is tell me how not to be divorced. Well, isn't that the goal? You know what I mean?
Touche.
Like, isn't that the goal?
That is
so
the goal.
They can tell you, hey, I know I did this and that didn't work. So you might want to, take that into consideration. So I truly believe that the individual who has been divorced has something to say in regards to marriage. Now, again, successful marriages don't happen overnight. We fail at something in the marriage to then make it a successful marriage. You see what I'm saying? And so with that being said, I kind of disagree. I believe that I believe that divorced individuals have enough to say in regards to the marriage that could in turn help you. Now that don't mean that everything they say is law, or is Bible, but I can't say that they don't have anything to tell me, because if you were married for 15, 20 years and it then just turns out not to work out, and I know you can tell me something in regards to why it didn't work, and I can implement that into my marriage to make sure that it does. Again, we learn from our quote unquote failures and not our successes.
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree with that. Go ahead, Ty.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying, Chris. I definitely do. I feel, and my perspective of this, like I said, I feel like if you have a vision for your marriage and you have goals for your marriage, I feel like all advice should line up with those goals and those visions, and there should be some biblical goals in there, and it should line up. And if you're
Right.
receiving advice that does not go along with where you are trying to take your marriage and where you
Right.
want your marriage to go, and the path that you and your spouse is on, if you receive advice that is totally against that, then you have to let stuff go in one ear and out the other, because I think you're going to get advice all the time. And I think that some of it is good advice if it lines up with those standards and those values and those morals that you and your wife or you and your husband have set for each other. As long as it lines up and you know it's coming from a person's authentic heart, and it's not coming from a place of malice or jealousy or envy, anything like that, then I think that you are qualified. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I agree totally. I think Oprah Winfrey said it best. An error is only a mistake unless you fail to correct it.
Nice.
And I believe in that. You know, I think that I think this whole, this is my opinion, this whole world is built on success due to failures. Otherwise, how can you troubleshoot life at all?
Right.
Without, you would go through life thinking everything will work until it doesn't work.
Right.
And then when it doesn't work, you find a solution to that problem, and it begins to work. So we do life test and trial.
Yeah.
This is the same, no different from how we raise our children.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not perfect parents. So if I mess up with my child, or if I do something wrong, or make an error raising my child, am I not qualified to be a parent anymore? I don't know if you want to equate that to being married, but I still do, because society, or as just a human species, we tend to throw away people that make mistakes and say, well, you're no longer qualified to do this or to do that. And I believe, I'm not trying to go biblical, but I mean, when we mess up with God at times, we fall short. Right. And sometimes we get out of line, but God puts us back in line, but not necessarily back in the back of the line. Right. You know what I mean? So exactly. I think, as human species, we, without errors and without flaws, we could never learn what works and what doesn't. Yeah. I mean, somebody made fire. You put your hand and you be like, oh, okay, that's what fire does. Right. So I'm qualified to tell you what fire does. Right. It will burn your hand, bro.
Right. Even though I'm not the one who invented fire.
Right.
Exactly.
I don't know. That was probably a bad example.
No, but I like it, though. That's absolutely true, though.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's good. Everybody talking? Y'all quiet in the chat room. I tell you what, I'm going to open up the phone lines because I know y'all have something to say. 512-827-9164. Again, if you have a comment, Nick, I wish if you're listening, Nick, call in. I would like to hear your point of view. 512-827-9164. Anybody out there that want to have their comments on this subject, we would appreciate it if you call in, or if you don't want to talk, then hit us up in the chat line.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is anybody say anything over there?
Absolutely. It looks like, okay, let's say, so Jacqueline says, what surprised me the most, what I learned from my divorce was that I most learned about myself and my mistakes. And that's actually absolutely right. That's what generally happens. You learn more about you than you do your spouse in marriage.
Yeah.
You learn about what you can
Excuse
and can't. You learn about what you can and can't handle. You learn about what you can and can't deal with, and all that good stuff. And it's not until you are in that position where the marriage is on the rocks and all that kind of good stuff, where you learn more about you than, quote unquote, than that other individual.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, I think in marriage, I think that's another troubleshoot, because once you get married, I believe that there's some things, and this is coming from experience. Yeah. There's some things that I don't know about you, that I didn't know about you until we started living together and we got married. I mean, maybe years down. Right. I thought you was a strong individual, but yet I found out you're not as strong as I thought you were. Right. Or I didn't know you grit your teeth if you sleep, and I can't go to sleep now. Or I didn't know your attitude was as bad, because after the mascara and eyeliner comes off, we begin to see the transparency of an individual just by time. Exactly. Just time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that you wore a size 10 until I started looking at your feet. Like, how big are your feet? I'm just playing.
You got monkey feet.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't know you could write your feet. Didn't know you could write your name with your feet. When did you start doing that? I'm just playing.
But do y'all feel like you need to at some point take advice from people? Like you need to have those moments where, okay, I need some advice on this. And what if the person that what if you can't find anybody that's married to get advice from?
Okay, here's, and I'm gonna I say shameless plug, but it's not a plug for me. But I say any individual or any marriage, I don't care how successful it is, still needs counseling. Period. Because we can, there is no perfect marriage. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so with that being said, as good as your marriage is, you still need, some critique here and there. And so even if you guys don't do a whole bunch of arguing and fussing, sometimes it's not all about that. Sometimes it's just, again, we don't argue, we don't fuss, we don't cuss at each other. We just don't talk to each other at all. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, again, and some people be like, oh, I want to be just like them. Oh, yeah, you don't want to talk to nobody? Not a problem. But everybody needs some counseling. I mean, every marriage needs counseling, ongoing counseling. I mean, every 10, I would say every 5 to 10 years, you get you a counselor and change it up, because, again, with age comes different problems and circumstances and situations. Yeah. Every marriage needs counseling. Premarital counseling and counseling during the marriage at all different stages, Mm-hmm. And so, and that's what people don't like. People don't like to hear that in regards to that, but I truly believe that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Chris, did you have another question as far as qualifications?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I truly believe, I have a question in regards to all of this. My question, when I started thinking about, all of this, my question was, could a married woman get advice from a married man?
Ooh.
So
that's not her husband. That's not her husband.
That's not her husband.
That's where I was going.
Okay. That's not her husband. Obviously, that she would go, like, if she's having issues, or if there's issues in the marriage,
she better be her daddy.
Yeah. Wait. Let me. Touche, mon frere. Listen. Okay. Are you saying marriage about a married lady going to a married man for advice about her husband?
About her marriage in general. Let's say in general.
Is she looking for advice from a male's perspective so she could understand her spouse?
Well, let's go general first. She just they're having issues. She understands that it's part of her and it's part of him, and she just goes to another married man to get his input.
Okay, I'm gonna go with T. Holsey. It better be the father. I'm only gonna say that because I feel like if you're having problems in your marriage, you going to the opposite sex, to me, can only create more conflict.
Yeah.
Can you? I could say yes. Is it kosher? I would say no.
No.
You know what I mean? Because at that point, you are allowing another individual
Right.
of an opposite sex to be involved in your marriage.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that might just not look good. Perception is
reality.
Is reality.
Yeah.
And so to me, I'm not saying that that person cannot give or maybe not qualified to give. But if he's a gentleman, and he's not her pastor. And even I think in a pastor arena,
Yep.
the pastor's wife,
Absolutely.
now you have switched it, because now I just thought about something. What if the pastor doesn't have a wife?
Right.
Is he now
But
qualified to
I
talk?
was gonna say that. Yeah.
So, but that's why a pastor in that position needs to have a marriage counseling couple that they have to go. Like you hire your.
Well, you wouldn't go to him by
Yeah,
yourself. You would
exactly.
bring your spouse with you to the preacher or to the
pastor.
To the pastor.
But again, even with that, I would say at that point, even though, and I'm speaking from a pastor's. Now, this is my pastor viewpoint on this. At that point, I would still, if I have never been married, even as a pastor, I would get a married couple in the church who can talk. You know, it would be us three. You know what I mean? To help counsel those two.
Okay, I got you.
You see, I would get another couple who has some type of.
But then would that disqualify you, as we were saying again in the beginning? Since you have never been married before, how are you qualified to counsel? How are you qualified to counsel somebody that's married?
Hey, it's almost like that again. It's like that shade tree mechanic, bro.
Listen. I just want to. Let me jump in here right quick,
Yes, sir.
guys. Okay. Now, there's a couple things that you said, but I'm just going to touch on this, and I hope it's not changing it up too much. But what if a married woman goes to her single pastor and he looks like Billy D. Williams and Lady Sings the Blues? What
drinking.
happens then? I mean, that's all I'm saying. He looks like Billy D. Williams and Lady Sings the Blues. Okay. Is that,
Because if you'd have said this
permissible?
Billy D now, I would have been like, nah.
Yeah, this Billy D right now. Like, that's somebody's father and grandfather.
Okay.
Is that permittable? Can I have my wife go to a single attractive man, a pastor, to give her advice? And let's say he didn't bring in a married couple.
Okay, let me flip it in that same question. And we can answer this both ways. What if he was a less attractive man? He was looking like one of the fat boys.
He looked like Donald Trump. I just flared. I'm sorry, guys.
So
hold on.
That's a good question.
That's a good question. So here's the thing. Let me go off of, again, I'm gonna go off experience in this regards. Okay, so as a minister and then transitioning as a pastor, I have seen women go to a more attractive pastor for advice. Let me put it this way. I've seen women and men, don't get me wrong, because there are some single women pastors. I've seen people get in an argument on purpose just so they could take it to the pastor.
You see
what I mean? So I've seen that in that regards. People are trifling, but no, but seriously, like, so in that, like, if you have an attractive pastor, I would say at the end of the day, perception is reality. I could be giving great advice, but just the simple fact that I am attractive, and Lord Jesus, don't let the woman be attractive.
Right. That's a
Recipe.
problem.
Nobody's gonna believe. Nobody cares about the conversation, and that's just the reality. Nobody cares about the relation. Nobody cares about that the conversation. It is just two attractive people talking, so they must be attracted to one another. And that's the problem. You know, that to me, that's the problem.
It's a trust issue.
Right. But I'm talking about just people in general.
Well, yeah.
People on the outside that have no business having an opinion about it. You see what I mean?
That's
but they still got an opinion about it. Yeah. So to me, it would be advantageous for that pastor to be like, "Hey, I understand your plight. Let me get you with the people who can help you right now." You see what I mean?
Touché.
It is what it is, and that should be the wisdom from the pastor. The pastor should understand, hey, I understand my surroundings. You know what I mean? And so I'm not going to put myself in a predicament where I have to explain, well, she was just over here for counseling. You know what I mean? So, I don't want to have that conversation with the board or the deacon and the elder, like the trustees. I'm not doing all of that. No, absolutely not.
Oh, man. Y'all give us a call with your comments, 512-827-9164. We'd love to hear from you. Want to give a shout out to Bree Jackson out here listening. What's up, Bree?
What's happening, lady?
Hey, you guys know she's on Instagram at Bree's Bonnets. You know she has a. I'm just giving her a quick shout out and a plug.
Come on,
she has a business where she sells bonnets.
Hey,
yeah,
she makes and sells them.
And sells bonnets, quality satin hair bonnets, I believe.
Yeah.
She's been doing it for almost a year now. Since 2019. Yeah. Y'all know them bonnets. You wear them at bedtime to protect that relaxed hair.
Come on now.
That natural hair.
Come on, you know what I'm saying?
You got skills that pay the bills.
Y'all need
that finger wave that you got this morning. You understand? Protect that Brazilian number 3. You know what I mean?
Yaki number 19.
Exactly.
I'm just playing. I'm sorry.
No, y'all check her out, though, for real. Instagram at Breeze Bonnets. That's BREES Bonnets. 1 second, y'all. I think we got a call.
We got a caller? Okay.
All right now.
Welcome to the Next 15 podcast show. This is Trey North. Caller, who am I speaking with? Where you calling from?
You're speaking with Andrea.
Hey. Andrea.
Miss Andrea.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
You got a question for us tonight?
Yes, my question is, how do you prevent unwanted
Say that again. You cut off.
Oh, I'm sorry. How do you prevent unwanted advice?
How do you prevent?
How you prevent unwanted
advice? Ooh.
I would have.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I would just have to ask. I guess, why is it unwanted? Was it the tone? Was it things that were said? So I guess I would have to ask, what makes it unwanted?
Okay, so let's just say relationship wise. So how do you avoid from people giving you unwanted advice?
Okay.
So, how do you avoid? Well, you don't listen to them.
Well,
Are you saying that like it's coming from your mom or someone, a respected individual that you respect, but yet they're giving their opinion? Is that what you mean?
It can be family, it can be friends, it can be co-workers.
Okay.
Just all in general.
Okay. I can tell you how to stop that. You stop that with a sledgehammer. Okay? And what I mean by that is you stop it with a hard correction. Okay? At that point you can't worry about people's feelings. And sometimes you're gonna hurt people's feelings by doing this. Yeah. But it sets up that barrier that they now know from here on out, I ain't gonna say nothing to him or her about their relationship. Yeah. But you're gonna have to stop that again with a sledgehammer up front. Just say, hey, I don't want to hear nothing else about it. I don't want to hear nothing else about it, or I don't want to hear nothing else from you in regards to that.
Yeah, I think, and depending on who it is, the individual. Yeah, I think you can come at it with a very respectful way. You know, hey,
yeah.
I appreciate what you're trying to do. I know that you're trying to help me.
Right.
But listen, I prefer to keep my personal business or my relationship separate from our friendship.
Yeah.
You know, or something to that matter.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. Ty, you got anything for that?
I guess, let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
Because I could give the same advice that y'all are giving, because on the outside, that's what I want. But I guess the more detailed side of me is like, why is somebody giving you advice or their opinions in the first place? Have y'all had previous conversations? Have you maybe said too much of your business? Do they know too much?
That's
Are
good.
they around you and seeing your business, hearing your business?
Mm.
Because it's almost like, if we want people to not give us advice, then we got to make sure they're not seeing certain aspects of our
Right.
life.
I agree.
You see what I'm saying?
That's
Like
good, man.
I believe that, just like I tell my middle school students all the time, that especially the ones that are filled with drama. Listen, let me give you the keys to not fight, to fight less, or to not have to fight at all. Stop gossiping.
Right.
And some of them I have to tell them that. So I guess that's the side that I'm on. For somebody to fix their mouth to give me an opinion or their advice, then what did I do to give them the impression that I wanted it or that I cared?
Yeah, I'm agree with that.
Yeah.
Right.
And for lack of better words, if you don't want nobody in your business, then you got to be willing not to even open that door for them to even the opportunity.
Yeah.
So in other words,
Absolutely.
I get what you're saying to you, because in my opinion, if that person is giving you advice, then they obviously feel comfortable or have given some type of advice previously, and it could be maybe that, okay, now you don't give good advice,
Right.
so I don't really want to really, and I would just at that point, like you said, with a sledgehammer.
Yep.
I mean, to me, yeah. Did that answer your question, Andrea?
Yes, that answers my question.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, good. Well, thank you for calling.
Thank you for calling in, ma'am. That is so awesome.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a good night.
Patreon of the show.
Thank you so much for calling
Yes.
All right.
Okay, have a good
in.
night.
You too. Bye-bye. That was a good one.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah. If you got a question or would like to call in, give us a call. 512-827-9164. The lines are open. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll start wrapping things up. Hey, it's Trey North, and I want to personally thank you for tuning in to tonight's episode. If you're enjoying the podcast, please share this with your friends right now so they can tune in and enjoy the same programming as you are. Tell them to go to www.spreaker.com and search the Next 15 and join our live podcast so they can interact with all of the listeners, including me and my co-host Chris McAllister. Don't forget to check out our brand new and redesigned website at next15podcast.com, where you can find our current and past episodes and even listen to the live show right from your browser. You can also find inspirational blogs written by my mom, Stella B. North. But that's not all. We've just added a review and comment section where you can provide feedback and suggestions about the show. Again, thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Hey there, this is Juan Alaman, host of the 80s Hour and also the Wrestling Way Back podcast, both on Spreaker.com. So if you found the Next 15 podcast with Trey North, then you can find me. And also check out my new movie, Chased. It's on Vudu, Fandango, Amazon, Comcast, wherever you find your favorite movies digitally, you can find Chased. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.
You're listening to the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North on Spreaker.com. And we're back with the Next 15 podcast show. Tonight it's Am I Qualified?
Hey, man, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have a question.
Let's go.
Man. This is going to be a good one, I feel. And I was thinking about this, man, during the break. So what if you had a baby mama or a baby daddy
Oh God.
who it didn't work with y'all, of course, obviously, and now they're remarried, and they try to give you advice about your marriage. And y'all have to talk because y'all have a child together.
But they're trying to give you advice about the new marriage that you're in.
Yeah,
The marriage and not the child.
yeah, absolutely.
That's interference. That's a sledgehammer moment.
That's
a no-no.
Personal foul.
Because if we didn't make it, you know, because if you're going to give me advice, it'd be advice to help me, which you didn't do your job is the reason why I'm with somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Sledgehammer for me. I don't know, Ty, what do you think?
You know, I gotta say once again, what have I like? Is there something on my face that says you can advise me? Because if it's something on my face that says you can advise me, I need to take it off my face. So that if you were remarried and you have time to give me advice on my marriage, then your husband or your wife is not doing something right.
Right.
Because I just feel like when you are fully invested in your marriage, I think because y'all, we got to understand, sometimes advice can be you just nosy.
Touche.
Okay, your advice is just you just nosy and you're messy.
Right.
So for me, I would probably take that person's my ex's advice as you just being messy.
Disqualified.
Right.
Not qualified.
That question woke up the chat also. Everybody's like, no, sir. Miss Erica Vargas was like, no, don't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just about to ask what's going on in the chat room. Y'all, come on now. 512-827-9164. 512. It's going up in the chat room right now. 512-827-9164. We want to hear that feedback. Bring it on in there. Bring it.
Let me bring up something else that we talked about earlier too. Okay. And I just want to say, you know, I had to put myself in a place. I have to try to put myself in these shoes sometimes. If my wife is getting advice, because we brought this up at one point, if your wife or your husband is getting advice from a single friend of the opposite sex, okay, my thing is, do we have an issue with our wives or our husbands having single friends of the opposite sex? Do we have an issue with that? Because I think if they do, of course, they're going to give each other advice.
Okay. That's a great question. And I'm going to go just personal for me. Okay. You know, so hopefully I don't hurt nobody's feelings. So with that being said, for me, I think that it's not a good look. I'm not saying that it can't work. I'm just saying it's not a good look, because the moment that the relationship gets on rocky times, like you have now built a relationship with the opposite sex who happens to be single, and that becomes a door or a easy way out. You see what I'm saying? And it gives you the opportunity to fantasize about the what if.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And so, and again, wherever the mind goes, the body will soon follow.
Yeah.
So of man thinketh, so is he. So at the end of the day, if the door is opened, like don't even build the door is how I look at it. Because,
but let me ask you this though. But
okay.
what if like, okay, we're single, we're men. So let's say that your friend looks like Esther from Sanford and Son.
Right. Hey, you know what? Listen, let's talk about it. No, real talk.
I can't hold it. I'm sorry.
I know. Let's talk about it, bro. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about her looking like Esther, but she embodies everything that your wife doesn't.
Okay.
But she looks like Esther from. Okay.
Like all I can think about is watch it, sucker. Watch it,
You old fish fool.
Like, what if she really talked like that too? Like, what?
Okay.
I'm
What
sorry.
if there was absolutely no romantic,
no
attraction, anything like that? Y'all are just cool.
Okay. So would you? Okay. Here's the next question. So would you treat her Would you treat Esther any better than the other friend that looks like Halle Berry, or because you got to put them on the same? You got to put them on the same level.
Okay, I want to answer that.
Okay.
But first, I want to say I'm glad that we gave this other person a name. I think when I need the name Esther because now I can kind of picture that.
Yeah.
Now I want to say this. I personally feel now that maybe this is just me, and anybody is welcome to disagree with me. I do not think that a married man or a married woman should have friends that they would date if they were not married. I don't think that you should have friends in that manner. Now, what I can say though is because if I had a Halle Berry looking friend, everything that you're saying, Chris, I'm doing that already. Like, if me and my wife get on bad terms, it's like me and Halle gonna have conversations.
Exactly.
So I try. It's just like now. Don't bring chips and Twinkies into my house. I'm eating them all. Okay,
Exactly.
it's not gonna be no sorting them out in moderation.
Okay.
But here's my thing on this situation though. For real though, I just feel like if you have a friend and y'all met 20 years ago, you could have had a relationship. It didn't happen. Y'all are both married now. And so that person's not single. You're not single. I do think those people are able to be friends.
I do. Now, I do. I agree with that.
Okay. All right. All right, good. We got a caller right now. Welcome to the Next 15 podcast show. If you can, caller, go ahead and cut your device down because we're getting feedback before you get on the line.
Okay.
Yes. Now, who am I speaking with first, and where are you calling from?
Okay, this is Sheree, and I'm calling from Dallas, Texas, but my husband actually has a comment.
Okay.
Yeah, so
what's
1 second.
What's his name?
Huh?
What's his name?
His name is Basil.
All right, Basil.
All right.
Basil, okay.
Hold on 1 second. Let me put y'all on speaker.
Okay.
These my people, by the way.
Actually, I was commenting, bro. I wasn't really trying to get on her. She's forcing me on. While you guys are talking.
No problem at all, bro. Welcome to the show, man. We love to have you here, man.
Thank you, man. I'm actually enjoying it. man. So, y'all, you brothers are doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, as far as marriage, you gotta kind of define what it is. Like it's a social construct. It's a social contract. And that's different in every culture. It acts different in every culture, right? So in that, it's already flawed because it's man-made.
Right.
It's a flawed institution. So if you're getting your advice based on your cultural norms, that's going to differ. So you got to make sure you're getting it from the people that are aligned with your cultural norms, first of all. Because a Chinese marriage is different than American marriage.
Okay,
that's one.
Yeah.
And then, but the main thing is this: a marriage, especially in our country, is a business decision. You don't get married for love and emotional attachment. You get married because you're blending two individual spirits or entities, and you're making one for the purpose of making something greater than the two individual entities, and also for children. So when you go into it like that, then you're not saying, I don't, if she's snoring or she, what she's doing in the bedroom. I didn't know she did that. You have to go into it with the mindset of, I'm flawed, she's flawed. We're growing together. It's a development. So those things going through. Marriages fail from the beginning, and they just go down from there. You get married to somebody for the wrong reasons, and then it's going to go down. But if you go into it the right way, it doesn't fail.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't fail.
Okay.
I feel that.
Yeah, I feel that. But like you said something, sir. You said is when you going into the marriage again with the right mindset, which means you're willing to adapt when the time comes. When the time comes for you to adapt, because you are going to have to adapt. That's the problem.
You're going to have to.
Those are the.
If
you're
you
right.
think you're going to be the same person that you were 20 years from now, you're going into it for the wrong reason.
Absolutely.
Because you're not going to be the same person.
Yeah.
And you hope not to be the same person. You hope that you and your spouse and your whole family are different people, different spiritual entities. That's what it's about.
Right.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's a great comment.
Yeah, I'll give you that one, man. That's a great comment.
Yeah.
All right, Basil. All right.
All right, my man.
Brother.
You brothers keep doing what you're doing, man.
Hey, man, thank you very much for calling in and listening to the show, man. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, no doubt.
All right, Basil. Sheree. All right.
All right, Ty.
Yeah, have a good night.
All right.
We will. Hey,
yes.
It's our 16-year anniversary tonight.
Oh, yeah, this is our anniversary.
Hey, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, and you spending it with us.
Yeah, so we giving y'all our time, 16 years today.
Wow. Happy anniversary from the next 15.
All right, where y'all going? Where y'all going, Sheree?
We just ate, but right now we're in the drive-thru at Brahms getting some ice cream.
Oh,
we're simple.
That's so sweet.
Make
you know what?
it last forever.
You know something? We sent a present to your house, but we didn't know the address, so they sent it back. So we'll do it next year. Then there you go.
Okay, all right. No, y'all have a great night, and we'll continue to listen. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh,
That's
man.
good,
That's
man.
great.
Oh, man, 16 years.
Celebrating 16 years of
That's
marriage
good.
with the next 15.
Yeah, man.
I'm honored.
Yeah.
I think this is going to go down as one of my best episodes for me, my favorites, because somebody's sharing love on my show.
I mean, it's a good show, too, man. This is a good show.
This is a good topic tonight.
Absolutely, man. I think, but there's so much that goes on with this topic, bro. Like, at the end of the day, like I always say it, listen, like Basil said it really good, man.
Yeah, he did.
He said, hey, you have to adapt, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta adapt.
Two imperfect people learning to adapt.
Yep. That's marriage.
That is marriage.
Leads me to one of my favorite words that I always like to say. There are so many intricacies in this. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite words. So with the qualification thing, I think though, once again, what he said summed it up for me as well with the adapt.
Yeah. I mean, I think Basil had the closing comments and he didn't even know it.
Come on, Basil. Welcome to the next 15.
I know, right?
Fly you out here to Austin, baby.
I know. Put him on the show.
I'll tell you
Mr.
where he is.
Philosophical around here.
I know. I might have to get in touch with him, Ty, and maybe all four guys sit around here and in the studio and talk about some stuff, man.
I would welcome Mr. Kapperman. All right, Newt.
This has been a great episode and a great night. Ty, we want to thank you so much for joining us tonight, taking the time out of your day or your evening tonight and appearing on the show tonight. Do you have anything you need to plug or you would like to plug or anything like that before we get up out of here?
Man, again, man, like always, man, I am on Facebook and Instagram, Ty Holsey, Holsey. I want to thank Chris and Trey once again, man. I love being on here with you guys.
Amen.
I can't wait to come to Austin and join you guys live in the studio. Thank you for having me on. And then I want to shout out Bree Jackson, one of my closest friends, for being on.
What up, Bree?
And then Sheree and Basil, and me and Sheree both work for Dallas ISD together.
Okay.
And so,
16 years.
Yep, 16 years. And so I want to thank them for calling in. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
All right. What about you, Chris? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, man. Listen, I love the next 15, guys. Listen, this is a great podcast. So first and foremost, if you're listening to us, hey, share this information, man. As you can see, we have an off the chain show here, and we talk about everything under the sun. You know, we don't get too spiritual with you, but we're gonna give you that guide every once in a while, and that's a good segue into Life Changers Church. No, but guys, listen. We have a great ministry here in Austin, Texas. As you know, we're via online right now. So you can watch us online on Facebook at LCC Austin. You can watch us on YouTube at Life Changers Austin, live at 10:30 a.m. We're in the middle of a series called Pieces, and so I want you to go ahead and make sure that you come watch us live. The reason why is because we are changing lives, and we are starting with ourselves. This is your man, Pastor Chris, in the building.
All right, Chris, we're going to get him off here. He likes to plug in. This is Trey North. We thank you so much. Go to next15podcast.com if you want to listen to this episode or our great past episodes. Go there and subscribe, and you can get bonus content with newsletters and much, much more. For Trey North, for Chris McAllister, and Ty Holsey, we'll see you guys on the next 15.
Yeah.